Hi, I'm Abhirash, your UPSC Civil Service Examination Mentor, and welcome to today's session on analysis of GS Paper 3. And as you can see on my screen, that I'll just share you the paper which I have received. If we look at the paper, there are 20 questions in it. First 1 to 10 are 150 marks, 150 words, 10 marks question. GS Paper 3 usually has a touch of whatever is happening in the current scenario in the last 15 months, that they usually from the usual trend they have the touch from that, and a question is converted as per the syllabus in the and I think looking at the paper in the first view, it has kept that tradition. So we'll go, हम question by question तो जाएंगे नहीं, but let's just go through first little the first impression of what the paper looks like and what basically is the sense that I have derived from this paper. So अगर मैं usually it is like they have put weightage, equal weightage. अगर हम क्वेश्चन डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करके देखें तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 to 11 and 12 are 50 marks, which is from economy, including infrastructure and energy. Agriculture, but they have put question 3, 4, 13, 14, again 50 marks. Science and tech पे question 5, 6, 15, 16, again equal marks, 50 marks. Environment and disaster management में question 7, 8, 17, 18, again 50 marks. और internal security पे around question 9 or question 10 है, question 19 and question 20, around 50 marks. So 250 marks, they have divided equally in the weightage to all the. This kind of sounds very, very, very balanced paper. If you have prepared well, when you आपने जब preparation करी होगी, so you must have taken care of all this area से top news को पकड़ के have some pointers ready. So here question is always like that कि whatever it is not that कि how much our newspaper you have read, how much do you can link with your UPSC GS syllabus, and from that क्या connection आप निकाल सकते हो. So the only thing here I found that you need to be clear about static foundation and ease of current activities which has brought them into news again, and the demand of the paper, which kind of allows. So if you see the para question tha CBDC ka, it is on monetary economy. The financial inclusion index, inclusive growth पे, technology missions, agriculture पे, PFBR, criticality, nuclear technology पे, KMGBF, biodiversity, and IT rules and agentic AI, FATF are internal security and emerging tech. So you can divide the questions which has come into this part. So anyway, how we distribute the questions attempt key. The 10 marks question will take you around 7 minutes, and if we divide that 7 minutes, how to access that question within 45 seconds. First 45 seconds decoding the demand of the questions by understanding the directive and subparts. The next 45 seconds में you need to build in your mental structure that मैं क्या क्या डालूंगा, how I'm going to put in that, and then 5 minutes on focused writing, and then check in the last 30 seconds wherever you can highlight or underline the relevant part. The first question जो यूपीएससी ने पूछा है, what do you mean by digital rupee? What do you mean by digital rupee? In this context, explain the working and progress of India's central bank digital currency (CBDC). So basically, you must define what is digital rupee, then explain how CBDC works, India's progress in that area, the critical framing. This is a question about monetary architecture and not a general essay on digital India. The core conceptual points over here is that digital rupee is sovereign digital currency issued by RBI. It's a legal tender in form of electronic form. So you have to mention about RBI, you have to mention about the bank and intermediaries, the digital wallet, and then a P2P and P2M transaction. Progress wise, we have to talk about the wholesale CBDC, retail CBDC, pilot expansion, and off-time programmatic experiment. So currency here is the basically UPI, the payment mechanism. CBDC where it says UPI. In CBDC, it is the currency itself. In UPI, it is a payment mechanism, payment gateway. CBDC liability is of RBI. In UPI, it is transfers bank deposit. CBDC is a digital legal tender. UPI is banking interface. It's a gateway. So if you have covered all this area, then it kind of completes your demand of the question. Why did I mention UPI? Because progress of the nation is जब हम UPI से फिर CBDC की तरफ जा रहे हैं. That's right. Next question. Examine the view that financial inclusion is an integral part of social and economic inclusion in the country like India. Also throw light on the usefulness of the RBI's Financial Inclusion Index. If you have read through economic survey, this year's economic survey and budget document, you will get more insight on what is the status of all the financial inclusion activity in India. So here the first demand is why financial inclusion produces social and economic inclusion. कैसे उसको how do we relate it? Then the second, why, what is RBI's financial index and how useful it is? And we have to show the relationship and its limitation. In the inclusion part, how you are going to show is the banking access, credit and saving, economic opportunity, and how ultimately it provides social empowerment, where you can include women, rural household, informal workers, direct benefit transfers, DBT transfers, MSMEs, farmers. In the financial index, there are three pillars. First is financial inclusion index. There are three pillars. Branch access to the finance, that is through branch or uh, penetration through ATM, like that. Then usage, how much active account they have. Then quality, affordability, suitability of or financial literacy. If you can remember the Jan Dhan account scheme, Jam Trinity, you can include that here as a word. So if you have included all this as a picture, your second question is meeting the demand. Third question, describe the various technology missions initiated in Indian agriculture and examine their role in food security. It's a pretty direct question, and you have to tell about the technology missions. Examine the contribution to the food security organized by purpose and not by scheme names. Use the food security lens: availability, accessibility, stability, and nutrition. The next question is also an agricultural sector question. It says, explain the factors responsible for inefficiency of agriculture produce marketing and how e-commerce helps to reduce inefficiency of agri-produce marketing. Explain. Answer in 150 words. So you have to first differentiate between uh, what are the marketing issues. So they are like information asymmetry. In e-commerce, what how is it a solution? It is providing price discount. Then in marketing issues, multiple intermediaries. यहाँ पे डायरेक्ट बायर सेलर लिंकेज ई कॉमर्स में, लिमिटेड मार्केट एक्सेस मार्केटिंग इशू में, ई कॉमर्स के थ्रू वाइडर मार्केट में, मार्केटिंग इशूज में एक जगह लोकल मोनोपोली हो जाती है, यहाँ पे कंपटीशन है बिकॉज ऑफ ई कॉमर्स। यहाँ मार्केटिंग इशू में डिलेड पेमेंट पेमेंट साइकिल का इशू है, ई कॉमर्स में डिजिटल पेमेंट और इंस्टेंट पेमेंट सेटलमेंट। मार्केटिंग इशूज में लैक ऑफ क्वालिटी ट्रांसपेरेंसी, यहाँ पे डिजिटल ग्रेडिंग है, स्टैंडर्ड्स है, एक्सेस है, आप फीडबैक देते हो। So these are certain things. E-commerce corrects the inefficiency of agriculture marketing. अगर आपने इतना कर कवर कर दिया, that is enough. That is how it reduces the inefficiency of agri-produce marketing. Next question. Explain by giving two examples how biotechnology has helped the Indian farmers in processing their perishable crops. Answer in 150 words. So, if you actually understand what has the importance of biotech in perishables, उसका शेल्फ लाइफ द वे उसके जो खराब होने का जो ड्यूरेशन है उसको बढ़ा दिया। तो व्हेन द शेल्फ लाइफ हैज इंक्रीज्ड, automatically it as a produce circulates in the market in a much longer time and has the potential to have uh, wider circulation, new customer reach, like that, or reduce of losses. So it's in aspects, say, if you can talk about biotech intervention and physiological effect on the plant produce, and how the longer shelf life, and then how the reduces of losses. अगर इन एस्पेक्ट पे आप पकड़ोगे तो your question has met the requirement. What are the next question है Distinguish between a fast breeder reactor and a thermal nuclear reactor. In the context of the first indigenously developed prototype, FBR at Kalpakkam, explain the term criticality. What are its implications for clean energy future of our country? तो देखा जाए तो स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड ये क्वेश्चन जो है साइंस एंड टेक का है, स्पेशली फ्रॉम द इंडिजिनियस एसोसिएशन ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी, energy technology, and achievement of Indians in S&T. It's a very classic question, current affair or static concept mix है. So here basically there are three elements to speak about: fast breeder reactor versus thermal reactor. What is the meaning of criticality and the implication of clean energy for future? So in thermal reactor it is about slow neutron. In fast breeder it's fast neutrons. Thermal reactor is moderately generally used. Moderator is used in that. And in fast breeder reactor, no conventional moderator. Thermal reactor primarily consumes fossil fuel, fissile fuel, and fast breeder can produce more fissile material. Thermal reactor is conventional fuel cycle. In fast breeder, it is fuel cycle, breeding fuel cycle significance. Then self-sustaining nuclear chain reaction, where neutron population remains stable. तो यहाँ पे अगर हम टैबुलेट करके वी स्पीक अबाउट सेफ्टी, कैपिटल कॉस्ट, टेक्नोलॉजिकल कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी, रिएक्टिव वेस्ट, अगर इन सब एलिमेंट को हम इंक्लूड करें देन यू विल हैव अ कंप्लीट आंसर. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है 7th क्वेश्चन. डिस्कस हाउ द कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन बिटवीन रैपिड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट and disaster risk reduction in ecological sensitive areas of India can be managed with suitable examples. तो यहाँ पर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट वर्सेस डिजास्टर रिस्क रिडक्शन की बात की जा रही है. तो डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट एंड एनवायरनमेंट का पोर्शन है, एंड इफ यू कैन गिव with examples it will be very good. Actually ये क्वेश्चन का the way it is written it reflects the increasing frequency of infrastructure projects interacting with Himalayan, coastal, islands and other fragile ecosystems. The keyword is it is about managed. ये नहीं बोला जाता कि stop हो जा रहा है. How it is managed. So here we talk about first is the infrastructure requirement, what is sustainable planning, and how disaster resilience is maintained. We talk about the slope cutting, deforestation, floodplain encroachment, destabilization, poor drainage, cumulative ecological impact. Then we talk about how to manage it through carrying capacity studies, hazard zonation, cumulative environment impact assessment, resilient engineering, nature-based solutions, land use regulations, early warning systems, and community consultations. So if we can talk around this and with a geographical example, which happening, for example, the bridges that you make in Himalayas, how the train lines were introduced in Himalayas specific regions, specifically, joining Jammu to Kashmir, or maybe the bullet train which is being constructed right now. They give such example, it will automatically understand that yes, you understand development is a requirement जहाँ पे ये नेचर के साथ हमें मैनेजमेंट करना ही है. Next question. Discuss the aim and goals of Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Mention India's commitment and initiative to achieve the goal and targets of this framework, giving suitable examples. ये बायोडाइवर्सिटी पे है, एनवायरमेंटल कंजर्वेशन, इंटरनेशनल एनवायरमेंट एग्रीमेंट पे है। ये बेसिकली यहाँ पे यूजुअली क्लाइमेट चेंज टाइप के क्वेश्चन आते रहते हैं, पर हियर इट इज बायोडाइवर्सिटी क्राइसिस के ऊपर ज्यादा फोकस है। तो यू हैव टू नो और द फोकस अबाउट फर्स्टली उस रेजोल्यूशन का एम क्या था, गोल क्या है, व्हाट इज इंडियाज कमिटमेंट। तो you talk about the global target, the Indian commitment, and the Indian initiative. So that's how it kind of gives a big picture of the question. Next question is fake news, internal security, and IT rules. So it questions asks how fake news and disinformation threaten internal security and public order. Explain how fake news and disinformation pose threat to internal security and public order in Indian context. In this regard, discuss salient features of amendments in respect of information technology intermediary guidelines of Digital Media Ethics Code Rule 2021. Here, increase of fake content, amplification of fake content, polarization, mobilization. These are angles specifically which has happened in the past. वो आप बता सकते हो. That gives an edge about how or what is actually it means. तो here हम ऐसे नहीं बोलेंगे साइबर you can digital arrest and ये सारी खाली खाली एग्जांपल के साथ में, but how the disinformation and then what has been the response to it. तो communal disturbance को रोकना, panic, radicalization या election institute का distrust create करना, जो भी है. तो one has to see that इसमें ज़्यादा political opinion ना दो, but rather governance and administrative element के ऊपर ज़्यादा बात करो. What is the structure to stop manage this? 10th question is about Ladakh border development and civic action. 6th schedule पे है. Ladakh is strategically located between China and Pakistan. As a measure to win heart and minds of locals, discuss the border area development programs by the central government and civic actions by the army. Also discuss demand of promulgation of provision of 6th schedule of constitution for Ladakh. एक लद्दाख के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आना is a very good thing actually, because after so long, a full dedicated question on Ladakh gives the highlight of effort that has been taken to do that. तो यहाँ पे हम इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी का, बॉर्डर मैनेजमेंट का, एंड ट्राइबल एंड ऑटोमेशन, ऑटोनोमस गवर्नेंस जो 6 शेड्यूल में है उसके ऊपर मैं पढ़ते हुए लिखेंगे. वी इंक्लूड ऑल दैट एंड विल स्पीक, राइट. Then we talk about the soldiers, the fencing, the population retention, infrastructure, livelihood and trust, which is there required in that. And then we speak about geopolitical frontier, the fragile ecology, directive of the local communities required before doing anything. So that is how this question will be met. And before we move on to the 11 to 20 question, 50 markers question, let's take a break for 2 minutes and then we'll come back. I'm back. So most of you must be thinking कि मैं आंसर राइटिंग क्यों नहीं बता रहा इसमें, why I'm not telling what to write and all that. I'm giving you a hint what a good answer should include, but not an answer writing session because this is not about answer writing. Neither I'm trying to show off the knowledge one should access. I'm just talking about the keywords to analyze the paper कि कैसा पेपर आया है. तो अगर हम we know that when it comes to 11 uh, question 15 marks question, we usually 250 words and 11 minutes is what we have. And इसमें हम देखें how do we distribute time is 1 minute to reconstruct or understand the demand of the question, and then framework banana, introduction and body demand जो भी है, and then the conclusion, and then that you write it in the 9 minutes, and then last 1 minute you check whether you have mentioned everything or any diagram needed. So how much dimension or perspective the question is asking, उसको समझना is the key. So 11th question says, explain the key challenges for India's energy security. What are the key challenges? What measures do you suggest for ensuring energy security along with economic growth and sustainability? तो हमको तीन एस्पेक्ट में बात करना है, एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ एंड सस्टेनेबिलिटी. Energy security, maybe we might mention about import dependence, geopolitical shocks, or the price volatility. In sustainability, we can speak about the coal dependency, the intermittency, the storage challenges. Economic growth में हम बोल सकते हैं rising demand, discom, grid, problem financing. So it is not just about energy, energy create करना, but it is about also energy transit or deliver करना, development and deliver करना. So that is the aspect. Next question is, how are startups in India promoting entrepreneurship, innovation, and employment? Discuss the global and domestic challenge in their working and suggest suitable measures to overcome these. तो आप बताओगे what are the contribution employment में, innovation में and formulation of technology में, then what are the challenges is the funding का नहीं मिलना, compliance का burden, profitability का pressure और talent का ढूंढना, and most of them are in the big cities, not in the small towns. Then geopolitical fragmentation and tech restriction because of country wise. यहाँ पे we would have a better have a deep tech का focus हो, DPIIT रिफॉर्म्स करे, मैनेज करे, जो स्टार्टअप को मैनेज करती है, पब्लिक प्रोक्योरमेंट एंड ग्लोबल मार्केट का एक्सेस. तो दिस क्वेश्चन हैज ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चन है एक्चुअली है. तो इस क्वेश्चन में अगर आप how important it is for India's growth and economy, वो वाले एस्पेक्ट्स पे आप लिख सकते हैं. Next question is on agriculture, food scarcity to food surplus diversification. How Indian agriculture has been transformed from food scarcity to food surplus level. Explain the various government policies implemented for diversification of Indian agriculture. Yeah, basically, I'm sure you must be talking about the past and given कैसे various evolutions have created that sufficiency, starting from green revolution and inclusion of high yield variety and water irrigation, things like that. And I think that would capture almost everything. Next question is agriculture subsidies plus WTO agreement on agriculture. Discuss the difference between subsidies and support provided by the Government of India to agriculture sector examine the related issues pertaining to agreement on AOA of WTO. अगर आपको याद होगा amber box, green box, you have to include all this thing. तो knowledge है इसमें, ये बड़ा ही old standard question है, इसमें कोई नया सरप्राइज वाली बात नहीं है. तो फार्म सब्सिडीज पर बात है, with Indian example and what WTO says, and explain that green box, amber box, blue box, developing country this thing concerns. So we can say that conclude कि fair competition होना चाहिए livelihood के साथ and food security realities के साथ. इंडियन मतलब डेवलपिंग नेशन का क्या स्टेटस है और डेवलप्ड नेशन का क्या स्टेटस है. मिशन दृष्टि, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. स्पेस एज की तरफ जाते हैं. मेंशन salient features of mission दृष्टि. Discuss the imaging techniques used in the satellite launched on 3rd May 2026. Why it is being considered world's first satellite of its kind. What is unique about it. ये करंट अफेयर का बिल्कुल एलिमेंट है. So here we are going to talk about imaging technology. क्या डिफरेंट है इसमें, तो ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है, पेलोड क्या था, एप्लीकेशन क्या है, नोवेल्टी क्या है, ये सारे एस्पेक्ट अगर आप इंक्लूड कर पाओगे देन यू विल हैव गुड आंसर. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस बाय एजेंटिक एआई बाय. व्हाट इज एजेंटिक एआई? Explain its working, describe its application with suitable examples, discuss the advantages, risks and challenges associated with agentic AI. ये साइंस और टेक पे है एंड एआई के ऊपर है, तो यू कैन टॉक अबाउट व्हाट आर डिमांड्स क्या है. तो योर गोल. Next question is solid waste management. What are the challenges to solid waste management in India? Discuss the government policy framework on solid waste management. Discuss the success failure case of Delhi indoor cities, highlighting the salient feature of the solid waste management initiative. एनवायरमेंट पॉल्यूशन के ऊपर है, ये सिलेबस आता है डायरेक्टली वहां से. जो आपका स्टैटिक पार्ट है आप ला लो उसमें. चैलेंजेस क्या है, गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी क्या एग्जिस्ट कर दिए, और अगर आपको याद है करंट अफेयर के हिसाब से दिल्ली इंडोर के कंपैरिजन जो कि स्वच्छ सर्वे से निकल के आया, देयर यू कैन इंक्लूड दैट. And the waste management is more of a not just disposable problem but municipal governance and behavioral change problem. Next question है community participation in disaster management, and it's a cornerstone on effective disaster management. Analyze a statement with suitable example from India. डिजास्टर मैनेज के ऊपर ये है जिसमें कम्युनिटी का एम्प्लॉय के बारे में पूछा गया है and asking the challenges and strength of it. So you want to talk about from the disaster management cycle में क्या क्या involvement है community का, from mitigation, from preparedness से, from response and from recovery, and how in community is included and what happens after that. If we can talk about this, then that is kind of gives a picture कि वो inclusive kind of element है. Next question आता है J&K पे. Separatist movements have been one of the major factors contributing to militancy in J&K. Bring out action taken by the government to bring J&K in the national stream. Discuss pre and post abrogation in status of Article 370-35A. Also bring out positive impact of the abrogation of the whole article in mainstreaming the state. Emotional नहीं होना चाहिए, to be very frank, in any of these questions जहाँ पे you have the element of इमोशनल आउटबर्स्ट नहीं होना चाहिए. बिल्कुल स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड आपको करना है गवर्नमेंट कर क्या रही है, अच्छा कर रही है, बुरा कर रही है, जस्ट कांट ब्लेम राइट नाउ. इट इज नॉट अ फीडबैक आस्क फ्रॉम मी. क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिवली आपको कितना अवेयरनेस है, क्या चल रहा है, व्हाट आर द स्पेशल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अरेंजमेंट, आप किस आर्टिकल के तहत ये किया जा रहा है, ये सब चीज अगर आप एक्सप्लेन कर पाओ, देन यू कैन फुलफिल द क्वेश्चंस. Last question is about discuss counterfeit currency and money laundering as major source of terror funding in India. State the action being taken at international level to check these menaces. Highlight the role of financial action task force and methods of compliance by its members. तो ये तो अभी कोई नया चीज तो है नहीं, तो बड़ा स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चन में स्टैंडर्ड डेफिनेशन वाइज आप डायरेक्टली मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग एंड टेरर फंडिंग ये सब वर्ड सिलेबस में यूज में है, तो यू जस्ट मेंशन अबाउट देम एंड देन you talk about the various illegal funds, layering, movement through financial channels, terror organizations, the recruitment, logistic weapons, all that can you can say, and you can complete this answer. So अगर हम देखें जाए पेपर का डिफिकल्टी लेवल इज लाइक अराउंड मॉडरेट, आई वुड से अराउंड 16 क्वेश्चन तो आप कर सकते हो डायरेक्टली या रेगुलर रीडिंग ऑफ न्यूज़पेपर, बट फ्यू क्वेश्चन डेफिनेटली नीड्स जो स्पेशली स्पेसिफिक्स के बारे में पूछे गए हैं. तो दैट मींस प्रिसिजन है पेपर में, टर्मिनोलॉजी क्लियर है, वाइड क्वेश्चन, ओपन एंडेड कम है, क्लोज एंडेड ज्यादा है, एंड स्टैटिक पार्ट की तरफ फोकस गया है, लेकिन यस why it is in news because of the current affair, yes, that can be mentioned. So I think these are the way I will say analyze the paper. But this is what has been the trend of the paper of the GS paper 1 भी देखें, GS paper 2 भी देखें. So it is at the at par level of difficulty and moderate level. So मैंने ऐसा नहीं कि अगर आप जीके जानते हो फैक्ट्स डाल दोगे तो हो जाएगा, नहीं. इट नीड्स कनेक्टिविटी, इंटरलिंकेजेस, काइंड ऑफ अ थॉट एंड पर्सपेक्टिव अप्रोच. एंड हाउ कैन यू कनेक्ट विद द सिलेबस जो आपने जाना है, एंड हाउ यू कैन से द सिलेबस क्यों है, क्योंकि वो एग्जाम के लिए रेलेवेंट है, उस हिसाब से ये सारी चीज को एग्जाम के लिए रेलेवेंट मान सकते हैं. तो यहाँ पे अगर आप बैलेंस प्रिपेयर करके गए हो तो आप ऑलमोस्ट सारा चीज कवर करके आओगे, एंड दैट वुड बी बैलेंस. So I think that's it, the analysis from my side for GS paper 3. Agar any of you want to write an answer and send for feedback, definitely please go ahead. Please follow the time rule and send your answers. Details are there in how to reach out to me in the channel and in the description. You can just drop a mail or a WhatsApp with your answer. And specifically, I would urge to write answers for this mains जो अभी दिया है. So that way, you understand कि क्या, how are you able to connect and link. अभी अभी कॉलेज में चल रहा होगा पढ़ाई, अभी अभी मेंस खत्म हुआ है, you may have been in a better position to write rather than thinking मुझे तो अभी भी कुछ नहीं आता, मैं कहाँ से प्रिपेयर करूँ. I would start writing and you will automatically gain confidence once you know that कि right content आपने use किया है. So with that, thank you everybody. Thank you.